Breaking news, and this is huge. Yes, Elon Musk can possibly be removed as the CEO of Tesla as a result of this lawsuit that was filed today by Securities and Exchange Commission. They are claiming that Elon Musk misled the investors with his now famous 420 tweet. There are many other evidences that they put in their complaint. Now, I decided not to rely on different articles and videos out there. I decided to read the complaint myself. I know it was long and boring, but I took some quotes from it. I kind of analyzed it. I pulled some of the tweets that they were using as evidence, and I'm going to present it all to you guys in chronological order right now and explain what they're claiming, what the possibilities are, and offer you some guesses and possibilities of what can actually happen if this to move forward aggressively and the way the SEC wants. All right, all of this is coming up next. Thank you to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon, and if this is your first time here and you're interested in everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, and there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. Of course, you came to the right place. Go ahead and click on the subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything moving forward. All right, let's talk about it. And this is the tweet that, of course, we got to know over the last few months, where Elon Musk announced that he wants to take Tesla private at $420. And he also said funding was secured. Obviously, he had to kind of walk that back as he realized that wasn't really possible or good for the company, or the timing was bad. So that whole thing kind of settled down. The stock went up and then down, and now it's back up again. Well, not today. I believe in after market right now, I think the stock was 10% down, and I expect it to fall actually, because this could be really, really bad, and not just for him, not just for Tesla, it could be for the entire community. So the complaint was filed today. This is the top page of it, and this is what I've read. In New York, obviously, it is now a serious business. They've conducted a pretty, quick investigation. They've interviewed, I think, Elon Musk and all of the board of directors and many other witnesses and reporters and so forth. And they've kind of laid out this whole case against him. And they're claiming that he essentially either knew he was lying, or he was kind of reckless in what he was saying. And at the chances of correcting himself, he didn't really do it until the kind of very end. So now Elon Musk put out a response of himself, and here it is. It says, the unjustified action by the SEC leaves me deeply saddened and disappointed. I have always taken action in the best interest of truth, transparency, and investors. Integrity is the most important value in my life, and then the facts will show I never compromise this in any way. You know what? I think it's a true statement. I believe him. And I know I believe that he never really wanted to compromise anything and do any of this, but those are still not mutually exclusive to violating some regulations and possibly laws, and essentially sort of misleading investors and having people either gain or lose money based on that. So I believe his statement, but it's going to be hard to prove, I think, because the case that SEC has, again, from reading it myself, is relatively strong. Now, they're seeking quite a few different penalties, but let me go over that and show you guys some quotes. Before that, of course, I want to remind you that this show and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There is a discount code in the description of this video, so you can save yourselves a few bucks when you shop there. I myself have quite a few of them on my Tesla, and I'm very happy with it. So let's get going with the claims. Now, the SEC is saying that besides the original tweet, that we all know, the other tweets that he sent out were also false. For example, this one, when he says that hope is all current investors remain with the Tesla even if we're private. Then later on, they give evidence why that could not have been true. He also said the shareholders could either to sell at 420 or hold shares and go private. In another tweet that they believe it was misleading, once again, he said investor support is confirmed. Only reason why this is not certain is that it's contingent on a shareholder vote. And I think this could be even damning. This tweet right here could be even damning more damning than the original 420 tweet. All right, so let's get going on. And there's another tweet because yeah, so this is another tweet that gave the context to the whole complaint. They're basically saying, well, they're basically saying that he was really upset with the shorts, and we all know that. He admitted that. There's no sort of secret there, but that he was acting sort of out of anger, out of frustration and everything, and that's what led him to do pretty much to send these tweets and to say all of this stuff that he knew wasn't true. And again, that's what they are claiming. So this is another tweet that they're using as evidence in their case to support their case. Now, let's get going with actual quotes from what they're saying. And again, there are quite a few texts. I'm going to read it out to you, but believe me, that is nothing compared to it's like 25 pages that I've read. So the first one, and this is Elon Musk one actually, but here's the first one. It says, Musk's false and misleading public statements and omissions caused significant confusion and disruption in the market for Tesla stock and resulting harm to investors. And this is essentially what their case is. You know, when you say something that's not true, or when you're saying something without really knowing what you're talking about or what the process is like, and then people either invest money and lose or invest money and win based on something that wasn't true, that is against the regulations, that is against the law essentially. And this is what their job is, of the Securities and Exchange Commission, is to make sure that doesn't happen. I think that's pretty reasonable. I mean, I'm glad we have a commission that oversees that. I'm sure we all want to be protected, especially those of us who invest. I'm not one of them though, but for everybody who invests or has retirement plans, which I have my 401k, I want to make sure that my money is being managed not based on some made up lie, but whoever investing my money knows what they're talking about and can rely on truthful statements from people who are running these companies that we're investing in. The next quote, and this is a tough one. So the commission brings this action against Musk to seek orders of I don't even know this word. I should have practiced, right? Disgorgement, along with prejudgment interest, civil penalties, and an officer and director bar against Musk, and such further relief as the court may deem appropriate. Essentially, they're saying, listen, if he gained anything out of it, we got to take it away from him. Then we might actually penalize them, and a civil penalties. I don't know if it could be jail time or prison time. Could be definitely fines. And and this is, I think, the most damning one, even more than jail time, if you ask me, is that he will be barred from being an officer or even a director at any sort of public company, including Tesla, which essentially he will be removed as the CEO. And this is the most damning one. Let's move on. And this is so they're now they're going over everything that happened. And I'm not going to repeat everything because a lot of us know what happened. But there's some information that I didn't know about and maybe you guys didn't really know about. So let me communicate that to you. So there was a July 31st meeting that Elon claims he had with the Saudi Arabia National Fund, and he's saying that they were the ones interested, and he was sure that that's why he said that the investment was secured, that they wanted to take Tesla private at that time, that have already bought up to 5% of Tesla stock on the open market. And so the complaint says the July 31st meeting lacked discussion of even the most fundamental terms of proposed going private transaction. And they're going into the details of what Musk himself kind of disclosed, saying that Saudi Arabia Fund, one of the things that they were proposing is that Tesla would have a factory in the Middle East. And that was never decided upon, and it looked like it was one of the most important things for them. Also, some really basic terms like what's the percentage of the company they're going to own, what price, and who were the other investors and so forth. Like the basic stuff was never discussed. And this is like after the interview that SEC conducted with Elon Musk and others, and they're essentially saying that he couldn't have known that the investment was secure because they didn't discuss anything. So let me move on to another part that I found interesting, because on August 2nd, 2018, after market close, Musk sent an email with the subject offer to take Tesla private at $420 to Tesla's board of directors, chief financial officer, and general counsel. I didn't know that actually. So it looks like he was proposing it to them, and he wanted an immediate vote. Like he wanted a vote within 30 days. So he was kind of already shopping it around with within his own board. This is the crazy one. Ready for a crazy one? So essentially, he said that, hey, listen, I want to make sure that it's whatever the stock price is at that time plus 20%. And I think he believed that this was kind of a starter way to figure it out. And so I believe it came up to $419 at that time after the closing bell of that day, plus 20% came out to $419. He rounded the price up to $420 because he had recently learned about the number significance in marijuana culture and thought his girlfriend would find it funny, which admittedly is not a great reason to pick a price. And that is a quote from him. I mean, by the way, what's up with recently found out? The significance. What do you mean? Who doesn't know what 420 means? Like that. If anything, that's the most surprising thing. How is this genius guy who's created all these companies and these technologies? He's one of the smartest guys around on the planet. Doesn't know what 420 means. That aside, he was kind of making a joke for his girlfriend, I guess, and that's how we got in all of this trouble, I guess. So let's move on. Now, the next one is prior to Musk's meeting with fund representatives on the evening of July 31st, Tesla stock had closed at approximately $298 per share. Accordingly, at the time of the meeting, the price per share with a 20% premium would have been approximately $358, which is way off from $420, I believe, by 17%, or if not more. And so they're claiming is that, wait a second, how is that he figured that they're going to go to at 420, going private at 420, if he claims that he discussed and was sure that the investment was secure at that time $358. That's a lot of money in between that somebody had to pay, and obviously he never discussed it. Well, not obviously, he never discussed that. So therefore, that number was kind of made up because there were no other conversations with our Saudi Arabia National Fund. Now they went further, saying on August 6th, that's a day before his 420 tweet, right? Musk discussed a potential going private transaction with a private equity fund partner with previous experience with such transactions. And by the way, this could be even worse. Like, this claim is really tough. So they go on saying, during this call, Musk mentioned that to execute the potential transaction, the number of Tesla shareholders needed to be below 300. At the time, Tesla had over 800 institutional shareholders and many more individual shareholders. So this is essentially what they're saying, that he knew that the number of shareholders would have to be 300, and so not everybody who was already an investor would stay as an investor. As you remember, his tweet said that he hopes that everybody will stay. So he knew that it wasn't possible, and yet he said that that's what he believes was going to happen. And that does seem to be a direct I mean, basically what they're saying is a lie or a reckless misrepresentation of the truth. So NASDAQ, here's another one that he definitely, it looks like, going to be in trouble for. It says NASDAQ rules specify that listed companies such as Tesla must notify NASDAQ at least 10 minutes prior to publicly released material information about corporate events like a proposed going private action. Musk did not notify NASDAQ prior to publishing his August 7th tweets. This is a problem. As a matter of fact, I'm actually very surprised that no one ever told him this. That he cannot just tweet stuff out or make statements without notifying NASDAQ first. And this is yet another, besides the fact this is obviously a violation, but how in the world did he not know this? Let me know in the comment section if you guys have explanation to any of this. I do not. Let's move on to the next one. Musk's August 13th post, and this is where he clarified everything, or tried to clarify everything, says it disclosed for the first time that he was still in discussion about taking Tesla private with a fund and a number of other investors, and that no detailed proposal had been presented to the board of any board committee. This was contrary to Musk's August 7th tweet, stating only reason why this is not certain is that it's contingent on a shareholder vote. And this is another place where they're really pushing hard. If you read the complaint, that they're saying, hey, listen, he didn't discuss any of this. He didn't disclose it to them, and yet he said that only thing that stands in the way is the shareholder vote. And by the way, this is not how you take the company private. What happens is the board of directors creates a committee that kind of runs this whole taking company private thing. So that is the first step before a shareholder vote. And since Elon Musk knew that there was no committee formed because the board had no clue that's what he was doing, that's another contradiction that they're basically saying he knew about it. He knew that that wasn't the case, and he still lied to everybody who was following him on Twitter, and thus everybody who is an investor, and therefore that is against the regulation. Now they went on to say, so these are the conclusions. I mean, so they go over the timeline, and now they're kind of making conclusions to sort of present the case and ask the judge for the penalties. They say Musk knew or was reckless in not knowing that his statements were false and misleading. And I'm kind of torn on this one, right? On one hand, it's clear just from his own statements that he knew some of the things that he was saying were not true. But at the same time, I don't think he was doing it on purpose. I think he was just being reckless. I would agree with the reckless part that, he was just frustrated with the shorts. He wanted to make sure that, this company succeeds, and he wanted to get rid of them and take the company private. And he just probably went a little bit further than he should have at that time. But this statement just seems to be factually correct by the SEC complaint here. And then they also said, unlike market participants reading his tweets, Musk knew that his ostensibly secured funding was based on a 30 to 45-minute conversation regarding a potential investment of unspecified amount in the context of an undefined transaction structure. And that is, again, after they conducted the investigation and talked to him. It does seem like he had a relatively short meeting, did not discuss some basic details, did not discuss the factory in Saudi Arabia, which looked like it was a big deal for their fund, and I kind of understand why. And they're basically saying there's no way in hell he could have walked away from that short meeting thinking that it's all done. So that is pretty much the complaint that is been filed. Well, this is now a lawsuit that's been filed, and this is something that Elon will have to deal with, pretty much right away. Now, the stock has already, fell in aftermarket trading by about 10%, and who knows what's going to happen now. Now, I know that they will probably negotiate. I doubt this will ever go to court. I don't see this ending well in general, but how well or how badly it's going to end, we don't know. Obviously, the biggest, I would say, penalties, him going to jail for a little bit, like Martha Stewart, maybe giving some money back or repaying some of the investors. All of it is nothing compared to having Elon Musk never be able to serve as a CEO or on the board of directors of Tesla or any other public company. That means that Tesla will lose its leader. Now, I'm assuming he can still stay in the role of chief engineer, designer, and so forth. Which, by the way, let me just say, that's what a lot of people, including myself, have been calling for. Saying, hey, Elon, step away from this whole CEO stuff. Let some boring guy handle it. The guy who knows the SEC regulations, and you do your thing, which is, design, engineering. No one's better than you. Just do what you've been doing, and of course, be the the face of Tesla and the electric car movement. You're good at all of that. Just stop being the CEO. And I think that's actually might just be a positive thing that would happen. But at the same time, you know, the stock price can really take a dive on this. Also, SpaceX, Boring Company, and other companies that, you know, who knows, potentially might need to go public will also hurt from this, because he would not be able to be the CEO or on board of directors of that company. So if he can negotiate his way out of being barred from that, I think it will be okay. And, you know, again, there might be some penalty, or maybe he'll be barred for like maybe a certain period of time. And I think that would be okay too, because just like I said, him stepping away from being CEO, even just for a few months or a year, may just do the company some good, having someone else run the company. Because right now, they don't need a showman really until the Model Y launch, and he can definitely be one for them. They need him to be the chief engineer. They need him to be the chief designer, and some other boring guy needs to run the earnings call and balance sheets and all of that stuff. So overall, I have to say this could be major trouble for Tesla because of the stock price and investment, and the fact that they might need to raise some money. The fact that, you know, how Chinese investors are going to be and partners are going to react to this as they're just about to start building their factory in Shanghai. You know, all of this could be negative, but at the same time, if all of this will end up having Elon Musk removed from that part of the company where he gets himself in a lot of trouble and concentrate on all the stuff that he's a superstar at, who knows? This may just be the right recipe for Tesla to continue succeeding without all of the drama. So that's where we're at right now. I will definitely make sure to cover this in my news tomorrow. This has definitely been a special report here. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this, because this is extraordinary. We can only guess. By the way, the SEC did conduct a press conference. They really didn't say much. They didn't answer too many questions, so there's not much to report there. So I will make sure to stay on top of this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Definitely let's have this conversation go on in there. Other than that, see you guys tomorrow, and remember to stay charged.